started and make sure we value your time. To start off, I'd like to do my land acknowledgement. So this is my personal land acknowledgement. The Regina campus of the College of Medicine is my home, and my home in Rockland is located on Treaty 4 lands with family members in Treaty 6. These are the territories of the Cree, Saulteaux, Dakota, Lakota, and Nakota, and the homeland of the Métis Michif Nation. As an immigrant to Canada, I acknowledge my role of my ancestors in the harm that has been inflicted on Indigenous people of this land that still echoes for them today. I want to give thanks, recognition, and respect to the nations and the ancestors of this territory. We are grateful for the privilege to be here. As Bob Badger said, the buildings of USask are built on the footprints of Indigenous ancestors. And that is also true of our daily work on this campus, in this hospital, and all of the spaces we live, travel, and visit. I commit to my role in learning about the impacts of the past and to take action needed for true reconciliation in the future. And I'm grateful to the University of Saskatchewan giving guidance on informed and collaborative strategies for the University Upahotan. Thank you. A few housekeeping things. The restrooms are outside this door and down this hallway. And if you leave the door, you can leave the door open because you need an access card to get back in, and you don't get one of those until you're a student. If you could put your cell phones on silent, we'll be having guests join us on Zoom, and the speakers have generously given of their time, so we would like to make sure that we're giving them our full attention today. For the evening, we're going to start with some opening remarks from the Associate Dean, Gil White. The presentations will be done by Dr. Tristan Domes, and then some faculty presentations. And then we will have a Q&A with some of our students that have generously also given of their time. And we'll do a door prize, and then you'll get to go on a tour of the academic spaces that we have here in the hospital. Then we'll circle back to see if you have any final questions and hope to wrap up at 8 o'clock. Okay, so I'm going to turn this over to Dr. White.
Thanks very much to all of you for coming here tonight. We really appreciate your presence, both those that are here and those that are virtual. Thank you very much. So tonight is really your night. If you have any questions, ask them. Don't feel shy. Just go ahead and ask, because if you've got a question, probably half of your people in the room have got the same question. So, and we've got a lot of expertise in the room. I want to thank my guests for coming from Saskatoon, and they came here just for you. So feel free to try and ask as many questions. Also want to thank my own team here from Regina, and you'll be hearing from some members of that team as well. So this is really looking at admissions on the two campuses in Saskatoon and Regina. Obviously, it's tonight in Regina, and then tomorrow night, I understand it's in Saskatoon. Am I correct on that? Or yeah, province-wide. Okay. So it's to give you and your colleagues in Saskatoon just as much information we can. We're proud of this College of Medicine. We think we do a good job. Our graduates do very well in post-grad training and when they get into practice. So it is a journey. There's no two ways about that. But the journey has some very, very positive pieces at the end of the road as far as training is concerned. So in Regina, it's interesting that this is the only campus that actually is located in a hospital in Canada. Most of the other distributive campuses, alternate campuses, extra campuses are usually in separate buildings within different communities. For instance, down east in Ontario, they've got a campus in Guelph, which had a new building as an example of that. So it's kind of an interesting, unique experience being here in the hospital. We're indebted to the Saskatchewan Health Authority for giving us space and patience in both sets to be here. And so we really are indebted to them. I want to thank them for all their help. So in Regina, we have now into the third year of having years 1 to 4 in the undergraduate curriculum here. and you get your MD degree at the end of the 4th year. So the first 2 years are basically we call a pre-clerkship. It means, it's a lot of, there's some interfacing with patients, different types of small group teaching. And then year 3 and 4 are basically working and seeing and learning from patients. So that's kind of and the same curriculum does exist throughout the province of Saskatchewan. So, excuse me. So I don't know if I want to say much more, and I'm not going to open it up for questions because we got some people waiting for us here to speak. So again, enjoy the evening. Please ask your questions. Don't go away and say, I should have asked that question. Write them down now. If you can think of any questions you need to get answered, so you know where it's at. So with that, I have the pleasure of introducing Dr. Domes, who's our still Director of Admissions. So there we go. The floor is yours.
Thanks, Dr. White. Yes, my time as Director of Admissions is coming to a close, but I have to say I've always enjoyed working with the members of the Regina team here. They've taught me so much, and I truly appreciate the opportunity to come and speak with you guys today about admissions. Just want to make sure this is our slideshow. Yeah, Catherine gave a beautiful land acknowledgement, and again, we're coming from Treaty 6 territory. We are all treaty people. So important that we work together in truth and reconciliation for Indigenous people, and what we do at the college, and especially build on that truth and work on that reconciliation. So today we're in Regina. Tomorrow, like I said, we're going to be in Saskatoon doing the virtual event. But what's important, and I think White discuss that, is that we are Saskatchewan's medical school. Okay, it's not like this is Saskatoon, this is Regina, there's competition. No, it's meant to be collective. We're much stronger together. Okay, we're a relatively small province with a lot of needs. We got to band together, right? We can't be separate. And so why we have a campus here, there's so many positive reasons, but one of them is because it's so important to have representation and to bring back and be socially accountable to this part of the province. And we know that people who train here have a much, much higher chance of practicing here one day. And our college has a lot to be proud of. We're definitely leaders in Canada in Indigenous health. There's no doubt about it. We're the only college of medicine that has a office of Indigenous health and wellness. That's a department. We have some unique programming in, again, social accountability, the Search and Switch program, certificate in global health. We have one of probably the nation leading ultrasound education, and just a really tight knit faculty. You'll get a feeling for that tonight when you have a chance to interact with the faculty and the students. But it's an extremely unique program in all of those reasons, and above all, you get excellent training, which is critical. And certainly the students will talk about this too, but obviously med school, you need to learn. There's a lot to do, lots of studying, but it's also a chance to make lifelong friendships and have fun along the way. So, because it's a tight-knit group, especially here in Regina with 40 students, you get a chance to make those strong relationships and build those friendships. So I think there's one reasons to study at USask. We do have a 4-year program. As Dr. White said, the curriculum at both of the sites here is exactly the same, and your degree at the end is the exact same, and the quality of the graduates are the exact same. If anything, I think a couple of years ago, the Regina students did a little better on the MCCQE. So, maybe Regina is slightly better, but nonetheless, we're having really strong graduates from both programs. So we have those pre-clerkship years are in Saskatoon and Regina for those years. You see the breakdown of we're up to 108 now, which is great. And then year 3, there's some opportunities to do some other sites. Here you're seeing the training sites that offer our longitudinal integrated clerkship. And that's a really great opportunity, especially if you have an interest in rural practice or generalist specialties. And then year 4 is that time to do some electives, prepare for residency, and do the match. So campus selection, of course, at the time of application, there's going to be a process where we look at campus selection. It's important that people realize that there's really 5 different options they have. One is Regina only, and that would be if you only want to do medical school in Regina. That is an option, and you'll only be considered for sites there, which is perfectly fine. Now that we have all 4 years of the program here, that's a great option for some people, and that for their life circumstances is what works for them and what they need. You also have Saskatoon only, and then you have the hybrid options of Regina preference, Saskatoon second, and vice versa, and then no preference. Okay, so it's important to consider that. We don't allow site switches at the beginning of the program. So what you choose is sort of the contract that we have with you as an incoming student, and that's binding. Okay. And so, yeah, and then when it comes to the longitudinal integrated clerkship, those sort of applications and stuff come later on in the process, so you don't need to make those decisions at the beginning. In terms of the application, as you see there, we have both academic and personal factors that we look at. Again, the personal factors are super important. Again, we all can think about when we need to interact with physicians or people of the healthcare team. What do we want? Yes, we want someone that is intelligent and able to problem solve, but we also want someone that is humanistic and that actually can communicate and can relate to us and has empathy and ethics, right? So these are the reasons we have, as you see, actually more even in the personal factor assessment. The academic requirements are as listed there. So 4-year university degree, the MCAT. We're the first medical school in Canada to have an Indigenous Studies prerequisite, which has just come into effect this year. And so that's important. And then an academic average of at least 80%. So those are the academic requirements. And then the personal factor, CASPER, which we'll talk a little bit about. It's an online situational judgment test. The multiple mini interview, which is 6 10-minute interviews that you sort of do in a circuit. Very important. The panel interview, which is a 45-minute conversation with a learner and a faculty member, mainly to discuss your journey to where you are now. And it's done in a conversational style interview. So it's more unique to you as a person. We do checks of academic and non-academic misconduct and reference checks. So that's sort of all the factors. Again, a lot of things, but it's important for us to look at the whole person. Just a quick slide about the Indigenous Studies prerequisite, as it is a brand new piece of our application. Here we need that completed at the time of offer. So if, for example, you're in your final year of study and you're going to be applying this year and you don't have this requirement, it's very important that you get it this year. And there's a list of approved courses on the website of ones that are accepted. If you have a course that you want to take or that you're enrolled in and it's not on that list, that doesn't mean we won't accept it, but you have to get pre-approval. Okay. Now we've been doing this for the last 2 years, so we have, especially in Saskatchewan, almost every course but again, there might be one, and we would be happy to look at that and adjudicate it. You just have to send, and it's online how you do this, but there's a way for us to get it approved. Okay, so this is important, and again, this year we are introducing this, but it has been in the works for 4 years. Okay, so we're not just spurring this on people. The MCAT, it's one of those ways for us to assess how academically prepared our applicants are, especially in the areas of the sciences. I'm proud to say that we have the lowest cut points in Canada for this. And I say that because this test no doubt has bias, has limitations. And because of that, I think if we're using it as sort of a meritocracy, like this is a reflection of your ability to become a good doctor, I think we would be using it in the wrong way. The way we use it is we want to ensure that people have a competent level of academic preparedness and they have to meet the bar, once you've met the bar, that's the key. And so, we have a minimum requirement of 492, and we know from the studies that we've done in our program through our academic program assessment that this threshold is acceptable to show that you can have what it takes to academically get through the program. Okay, and so those are the requirements as listed there. And the MCAT, I'm sure there's prep courses, there's other things, but the key is actually taking introductory level university courses in these areas. Casper is another requirement we have. Again, it's used more or less as a screen for some of the personal factors assessment. It has to be done each year. So if you've applied to the program, let's say last year, and you're looking to apply again, your last year Casper doesn't count. It has to be redone. That's just the way this company works. Most medical schools in Canada use the Casper, and it's been shown to help predict some of the areas in terms of professionalism, and it assesses these skills as you see here, like collaboration, communication, empathy, problem solving. Okay, so again, there's more information on Acuity Insights who run the test, and we get the score. Talked a little bit about the multiple mini interview, but again, it's the main way we look at the personal factor assessment. There's 6 different interviews that are done, each with a different interviewer. And it's a chance for us to get to learn a little bit about your communication, collaboration, putting you in situation. And again, in the MMI, there's no quote unquote correct answer. It's more situational, and what have you done in your life, or what type of experiences have you experienced that you can bring forward to the situation. And so that is done virtually over Kira platform each year, and it's worked very, very well. The panel interview or conversation circle, if you're an Indigenous applicant, is a way for us to get to know you better. When we were going through our admissions renewal, we had our applicants tell us, the MMI is great, but in the MMI, we don't have an opportunity to tell our story, to tell our journey, what's unique about us, why we would be great for the college or a great future physician. So this is why we brought this in. And it's actually worked out very, very well. The admissions committee loves it. The students, I think appreciate the opportunity, the panel assessors as well, and those involved with the conversation circle. So again, it happens after the MMI. So not every single person who completes the MMI will necessarily get an invite to the panel interview or conversation circle, but the vast majority will. Okay. And it's an opportunity again for us to look at those factors that maybe the MMI isn't quite able to. We offer this in person in Saskatoon. In the future state, I have a feeling we'll also be offering it in Regina, which will be nice. We're certainly getting to that point in the near future. But there's also an option to join virtually. And we've done studies looking at how people perform either in person or virtual, and the performance is the same. There's no statistical significant difference. And interestingly, when we correlate the way people perform on their virtual MMI and on their in-person panel interview in terms of communication and some of the other domains that are common to both, it's almost exactly the same. So it also gives us a lot of confidence that virtual interviewing actually is very effective in terms of being able to assess this. Nonetheless, you have the option to come in person, and the point of coming in person is to check out the campus, to interact with our faculty, staff, and students, to do tours, to get that sort of value add if that's what you would like to do. And we've been doing it that way for the last 2 years, and it's worked very well. Professionalism, academic consistency, again, this is what we assess through the file review. And again, it's just sort of looking throughout. The key point here is that any interaction that you have with our college, whether it's emailing our admissions office or interacting with our staff, be professional, right? It's common sense, but it's so important that people are considerate and patient and give grace, as we will to you as well as an applicant. And lastly, when it comes time to being admitted, there is a core document called the Functional Core Competencies. And certainly this is linked on with our information document. You can take a look at it, but it's looking at some of the key skills that you need to have to be successful in the MD program. So to the numbers, in terms of getting an MMI interview, we look at both the MCAT and the academic average. On the bottom there is important where it says Saskatchewan Connected Index. That's an index that looks at how connected people are to the province through their sort of experiences and things in terms of where they've lived and what they've done. And that's really important. Again, as Saskatchewan's only medical school, it's important for us to train people who have a higher chance of staying here. So that index is used throughout the stage and processes where we want the vast majority of our applicants that make it through these processes having strong connection. When it gets to the panel interview, again, that MMI is there. Of course, 50%, the academic average, and you see the MCAT's dropped off. Okay, so we don't consider it after that. And then in terms of rank for admission, we look at the academic average, the MMI, and the panel interview in this ratio. These are our streams. Again, we're very proud of our Indigenous Admission Circle process where we have up to 20 seats for Indigenous applicants, and also our DSAP, or Diversity and Social Accountability Program, which has 7 seats. And certainly for us, our goal, our vision, our mission is to have our future doctors reflect the society in which we serve. This is the province, right? So we want to make sure that we have strong representation from all facets, the rich, the poor, right? Indigenous, non-Indigenous, people from rural areas, urban areas, okay? People of different ethnicities, backgrounds. That's what brings change. That's what brings progress in medicine. If we're all the same, we're not gonna proceed. We're not gonna move ahead. So, and we're learning that, and this is why we have these programs. So, the Indigenous Mission Circle has been really successful. Again, you see here we have 37 students currently enrolled in the college who are Indigenous, which is excellent, amongst the highest in Canada. And we offer a lot of mentorship for our Indigenous students and also for our Indigenous applicants. We have a pathway support for Indigenous students to pursue medicine, which is offered in years 2, 3, and 4 of their undergraduate degree, where Indigenous students can apply. It's a short essay along with this application to potentially get a scholarship of up to $3,500 per year, as well as supports for the MMI and the MCAT and connections with Val Arnaud-Peltier, who's our Indigenous coordinator, senior lead of Indigenous programs and initiatives. And also in Regina, we have Amanda Crow, who would also be, if you're from the Regina area, would liaison with you and support you. Okay, and this is their information here. And the DSAP, again, is an optional survey, and it's there again to look at some of those factors that we know are barriers to medical school admission. They're well documented in the literature, and they're really ways for us to help level the playing field for those that have historically been disadvantaged. The Price of the Dream is a new program. We're one of only 2 medical schools outside of Ontario that participate, and it's a way for those who have some financial struggles to gain access to fee waivers for both the application and the interview. And this program, for this year, it's over, but keep an eye on it because it's going to happen each year. It opens in May for the next admission cycle. Okay, so certainly something, if you have any questions about it, don't hesitate to ask our office. And then this is just quick, we're almost done. This is a quick timeline of our cycle. So again, our application has opened. We're sort of getting here where the CASPR right away, the last accepted CASPR date, right? And the application closes October 1st, and that's a black and white cutoff. We don't accept applications after October 1st, no exceptions. After that, we will do some assessment, file review, and then the offers for the MMI will come out in December likely, and then the MMI in January, the panel interview in March, and then our first round of offers is usually the second week in May. So that's this cycle's timeline. And then these are really fresh off the press, literally. we just got these, but happy to share them with you guys. Just gives us a snapshot of our most recent class who got admitted and are now our first year med students. So you see there on my left is the total class of 108. Key features to show is that 86% of the classes from our graduates from Saskatchewan high schools, really strong. Like we said, the Saskatchewan connectedness is important. Here again, variety of different academic backgrounds. So not everyone is in sciences, biologic sciences. We have a huge diversity here. Again, higher numbers of grad degrees, which is great. A wide range of ages, wide range of academic performance in MCAT and UAA. Very happy to have 5 Indigenous students in the whole class, and then 10% of our students identify facing socioeconomic challenges, and 19% of the class come from rural roots. So these are positives in terms of gaining those diversity things we're looking for. And then we separated out the Regina campus here, again, very reflective of the total class, again, with that great diversity, and then strong connection, not just to Saskatchewan, but also to the southern part of the province, with about 50% attending the U of R or high school in Regina. Okay, so that's a snapshot. Again, I wanted to thank everyone for coming. Thank you, Catherine, Dr. White, the Regina team, for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure being the Director of Admissions for the last 5 years. It's being handed over. It's not announced yet, but the person is going to be awesome in the new role. So looking forward to seeing what happens with this fascinating college. Wanted to introduce our next speakers. So we have the Regina team. So my esteemed colleagues and faculty here in Regina. So we have Dr. Helen Chang. She's joining us online. We have Dr. Shade Onolope. Not bad. Okay. Yes. Dr. Jackie Kroshar and Dr. Rashmi Bhargava.
Yeah, we'll use that. We can use the top.
Yes. We're good. Everyone can hear us okay? All right. Okay, great. Well, on behalf of the faculty, we wanted to welcome you to the Regina campus. My name is Jackie Krauser. I'm a physiatrist or rehab doc at Wascana Rehab Center here in Regina. And I'm also a year 1 site co-coordinator with my colleague, Dr. Chang, who will introduce herself in a moment, for the year 1s at the Regina campus. And I'm the year 2 chair for the College of Medicine in this province. So that's a little bit about me and who you're meeting.
And I'm Mofola Shade Anolapo. Most people call me Shade. I am the year 3 and year 4 site coordinator for Regina, which is year 3, year 4 will be the clerkship years. And also by trade, I'm an anesthesiologist. So if you fall asleep while I'm speaking, that's because I put people to sleep for a living. So welcome you here and thank you for being interested in our campus.
I need a stool to stand on. I don't think you can see me.
Please stand outside, Dr. Bhargava, because the ceiling mics are on. So you can stand outside the building.
I can stand outside my, okay,
There you go.
you'll turn
Oh,
around.
there you go.
Okay, that's right, good. Okay, anyways, I'm Rashmi Bhargava. I'm an OBGYN here in Regina, and I've been in practice for 26 years. I am the undergraduate provincial director for Department of ONG across the province. And the other role I play with the college is director of faculty engagement and Regina's favorite cheerleader. So that's why I get invited to this place, to this admission, this open house year after year, and Friends with Trust and helps out a lot. So it's my pleasure to be here today and to share with you the beauty of our Regina campus.
I'm Helen Chang. Why? I'm a family physician, faculty development lead, and your on-site co-coordinator with Dr. Crusher. Thanks for joining us online and in person.
Okay, we're gonna get to the fun part of your evening, and we get to share with you all the fun stuff that we have, that Regina campus has to offer to you. Dr. White already alluded to the fact that we are the only medical school across Canada that is situated, located within the house of an actual hospital. So that makes moving around a whole lot easier for you. It's nice to be able to get your education, your clinical experience all under one roof. And we do have other sites that are involved as well with the Pasco Hospital and Wascana Rehab Center, but a good chunk of it happens here at the General Hospital. And as you know, we welcomed our very first med school class for all 4 years in 2022. So it's our pleasure to have year 1 to year 4 offered to the students here in Regina. And the beauty of our place is that this is a real community. And that's what you'll find in Regina, is that there's 40 medical students, and there's a whole bunch of community faculty that participate in teaching. There's residents, there's allied health professionals. Everybody knows each other. As colleagues, we see each other a lot frequently, because there's a few of us that are intricately involved with the college, and that's the beauty of our land. So I just want to share with you what our campus looks like. And we have many, the place went through major renovations in preparation for our med school class, incoming class in 2022. And our College of Medicine has just became beautified. And we have a health sciences learning center in the ground floor. There we have clinic rooms, we have classrooms, student lounges, computer labs. We have access to the anatomy lab. You see this picture of this young lady sitting here. That happens to be my daughter. I had to say that. Anyway, she's in third year now, but the anatomy lab, who would think Regina General would have an anatomy lab? So it's so great that we can have, plastic models, but we can have cadaveric specimens here. We may not dissect, but we can certainly learn to examine and learn the anatomy in this beautiful anatomy lab that has been constructed just for you. As well, there's a full access library 24/7 that you'll have, and it's an absolute, they're so easy to work with. Whatever you ask for, usually you get. They can do lit searches for you. They're phenomenal people, and they're right accessible to you all the time. There's the auditorium you're sitting in. There's a Dilawri Simulation Center, multi-million-dollar complex right here at the General in the basement. It's absolutely wonderful. The Department of ONG, we use it a lot, but there's low fidelity, high fidelity mannequins there. It's state of the art, and it's absolutely so much fun to put a clinical kind of piece into your educational experience. There's dedicated call rooms, lounges for you. The 5th floor is all call rooms for the medical students, as well as the residents. And this is the next picture that we have here is of all the different places. This is the renovated College of Medicine area on the 1st floor, right by the admin office where the dean sits, as well as his admins. And there's a large classroom, and then the picture with the students there, that's the Dilawri Simulation Center. And it's a great fundamental part of the learning experience.
Great. So we wanted to talk a little bit about the learning environment here in the Regina campus as well too. So I think we've repeated it multiple times. It's unique in that it's a hospital setting. What that means is day 1, year 1, you are in the hospital, you are becoming familiar with that environment, you're becoming familiar with the noises in the hospital, you're becoming familiar with the best place to buy a sandwich or the best lunch specials, you know where to find your coffee, all of that. So when you start clerkship in your 3rd year, you already know where you got to go for coffee or what day you need to bring your lunch. So you get really used to that environment really early, which is really nice. And you get to see faculty all the time. They're in the hospital, they're walking around, residents are here, the clerks are here. So everyone's kind of learning and together in one spot. And so I think that's what makes it so unique and so special. Our small class sizes as well. We have 40 students that come and join us every year at the Regina campus. And it's just a good size to be small enough that you'll get to know everyone. You get to know each other. We often hear about this sense of community among our students that really support each other and learn together and study together and have fun together and all those things. And so the size of the class can be a really nice way to just get to know, meet friends, and make lifelong friendships during your medical school careers. We're also an interprofessional campus, and so alongside medical students, there's also other students that learn and train here and have spaces that they study in as well. So you interact with other students in various settings. It might be in the Learning Center. There's spaces where there's students that may interact. At the Sim Center, we have opportunities, and certainly up on the wards and things like that in the hospital. So there's nursing students that come through this campus. There's social work, allied healthcare professionals, you name it, and we're able to connect with them as well on that level. And then finally, there's on-site Office of Student Affairs team. So you're supported right here in the hospital with all the teams you need for part of your medical school. And so our Office of Student Affairs is right down the hall from some of the learning areas so that you can connect with them and reach out to them if you need. And on that same note, so is our admin team. We work alongside and are in nearby areas to you where you're learning and where you're training. And so we're always just a step away or, you know, a short distance away to come find us if you have a question or you need something. So I think that's also a nice kind of aspect to the learning environment. I broke the computer. Okay. Our faculty too, we have amazing faculty. They're very engaged. They're very excited to teach. They love working with our students. And so this encompasses practicing physicians, the spectrum of every area of medicine you can think of. We have family medicine docs. We have all of our Royal College specialty physician areas. They're all part of our practicing physicians that are part of our faculty team and really like to work with students. We also have residents who learn on this campus, and Sade will talk a little bit more about our Rashmi we'll talk a little bit more about our residency programs that are available. But the nice thing of having residents is that they're here to teach and learn alongside you too. And so that's a really nice positive. And then our other health professionals, we have a wonderful team of faculty of nursing and social work and therapies and everything that also love teaching and want to be part of the education for our medical students. And then as a distributed college, for those in the room, and I guess those joining virtually, you're getting a sense of that already. We have our classrooms in a way that are connected. So we're connected to both campuses and you're learning large group lectures and all of those things at the same time live with your colleagues and counterparts at the other site. And so if a faculty member is teaching here in the auditorium, we'll be video streaming it to Saskatoon. They'll be in a similar classroom that has the mics and things on your table so that you can interact and ask questions and everything across the site. So that happens so that we can learn in person and virtually across the province, especially in pre-clerkship when you're kind of more in the classroom style. And then any small groups things are done at the respective sites. So in Regina or Saskatoon, they're the similar groups, but they're done in those campuses. And then finally, and I'm sure our students who have joined us tonight will talk a bit more about our Student Medical Society and how they keep us connected with social events. We do things for separate campuses. We do things to bring the campuses together. This is a picture, I believe, of our integration weekend, which we host in Regina, where students take a bus and come from Saskatoon to come here and learn with us. And we have faculty who join to teach some specialized skills and procedures and things like that. And so that can be a really nice way to connect with our colleagues across the province.
As part of our program, we do have opportunities where you will be able to participate in social and community events. We work closely hand in hand with our Indigenous coordinator. We have a person for that here in Regina as well as in Saskatoon. In Regina, we have Amanda Crow, who is our Indigenous coordinator here. She's not here with us today, but if you're interested in participating in any Indigenous activities, then she'll be able to help guide you, support you to learn more with regards to that. There are also other community events that you can participate in. We do encourage our students to be involved in social activities. There's a huge move and there's a Department of Social Accountability now where you can get involved in community activities. We encourage that a lot. So there'll be plenty of opportunities to get involved with as many opportunities in Indigenous as well as community events as much as you want. There are also opportunities to participate in Camp Hope, which is one of the community projects that we undertake as part of our College of Medicine community things. So if you have interest in that area, once you get enrolled in medical education, then you speak to one of us and then we'll be able to link you with the appropriate personnel. And then at this point, I'm very pleased to say that our Regina campus, sorry Saskatoon guys, we do have an excellent success rate in the MCCQE exam. MCCQE exam is the exam that all medical students takes at the end of the medical education. There's always this rivalry between us, like, because we know we're good, we're better. So, we're very happy that all majority of our students do exceptionally well. And that's an attribute to, I think, the size, the smallest of the group. So, I mean, everybody talks about how cohesive the group is. What it basically means is that if you're from a small family, you know that you can hide. So there's no room for you not to do well because you're like, you have Rashmi, like, what are you doing? So everybody will place that close attention to you, so you're well supported on all sides to be able to help you with your learning. I think that reflects in the scores that you're seeing today. And she's also going to talk about our match rate. Match is when you finish your medical school and you apply for residency, then we have statistics on where you match. Are you matched to your first choice specialty or not? So we're happy to say that majority of our students get what they want. So in a nutshell, when you apply to us, you'll be well taken care of. And we want to make sure that as educators, our success is your success, or your success is our success. So that's why we're all here and doing this.
I think Helen's going to talk about these ones.
Every year, the Association of Faculties of Medicine of Canada does a survey of everyone that graduates from medical school across the country. So we found that in July, Regina actually scored very highly. You can see that at 80% for student services for wellness, compared to the national average is just 70%. So we're doing better every year. Career planning services, our Regina students have been very satisfied with that as well, compared to the national average again. Next slide, please. And also with rate the quality of their medical education as good, very good, or excellent, we're up in the 90s. And that's across the last 3 years and higher than the national average.
So being doing well in our MCCQE makes us highly competitive in our residency matching, the CARMS matching system that Dr. Shade alluded to recently. So we just want to share with you the results from 2024 is that there was only one student across all of USask that did not get matched, which is an amazing match rate. And the great part is that they got matched to highly competitive specialties all across the board. So that's awesome. When you're coming from a small college, to have this kind of statistics is excellent. And you can feel reassured that you're coming into an excellent college with great teaching and the support behind you to make you a successful candidate in this matching system. And in 2021, in fact, we had I believe 48% of our graduates were matching to family med programs. And now you can see that the Royal College specialty programs have accelerated, and 71% of our graduates have matched to actual Royal College specialty programs. And you can see the list of the different programs that our students have all matched to, including very competitive ones such as ophthalmology and dermatology. So next slide, please. And the other good part, oh, it's coming. There we go. Oh. So we just want to share with you that Regina has available to you a family med program, which is a 2-year program, and they do offer an extra year of skills for emergency medicine here in Regina. And we've gone from 4 different specialty programs to actually offering 8 Royal College programs in our community here in Regina. So that's pretty awesome. You can see the wide distribution of the various specialty programs that are offered. And we have psychiatry, pediatrics, emergency medicine, dermatology is new, that's been added on, physical medicine and rehab. And I believe you're program director right now, anesthesia we just got right now this year. So, and of course, obstetrics and gynecology, yay, #1 program. But there's 8 programs now, where before we only had 4, and that was in 2021. So we're growing. We are on the map, and we are taking over. So I hope that you'll continue. You will consider us certainly in when you apply to medicine, and choose Regina site for this reason.
I have to disagree with the #1 being ONG, although family medicine also gets to share babies. So with research, in Regina, we have a dedicated research department that helps to guide and support the students and residents' research. We also have the clinician researcher program, which funds 2 physicians and their teams, including students, with their research projects. Every summer, there are dedicated research projects available for medical students through either the College of Medicine's Dean's Project or specifically funded for Regina faculty and students. I put a cat with pizza there because we have an annual research and pizza event where the faculty and the students get together and share the research projects that have gone on during the summer. RISE conference, this nice logo at the top here, this happened in Regina this year. It's our Research, Innovation, Scholarship and Education, Medical Education Conference. And we have Pewasisquan, the new one for the Sky is Clearing, the Indigenous Wellness Research Group, if you're interested. Next slide, please. This is just an example of one of the Dean's projects that some students are working on with me, doing podcasts, translating languages into non-English for patient care. Next slide, thanks. All right, back to you guys.
At our national rehab conference in Whitehorse a few years ago, which was pretty awesome and exciting. And then Dr. Borgava is also on the slide here too, and she presented with some medical students in Florida on maternal health and the environment. Is that right? Yep. Yes. So yeah, so the research opportunities take us to some pretty cool places. And even being from a smaller province and a smaller center, we definitely get those opportunities to share our knowledge and present and go around the world to kind of show people what we're doing here in our campus. And then we also wanted to just put in a few, and I think our students will talk about this as well too, that besides kind of our work and our research and our clinical activities and all of that, we really like to have fun at this campus as well too, and we really like to get together and get to know each other and spend time together. We are a small campus, we are a small set of faculty in terms of just being in a smaller city. And so we do really like to spend time together on social activities as well too. And so this is a nice welcome evening that we host every year with our first years to welcome them to Regina, to the campus. A lot of our colleagues from Saskatoon come, and our senior leadership team from Saskatoon often come and join us and welcome our students here at the Regina campus. We usually try to have it at Mosaic Stadium, so we have kind of a, specific Regina pride area of the city that we pick just to kind of spend some time, have dinner, and get to know each other. So that's one example.
And this lovely white coat ceremony, which we hope you'll be a part of one day, took place here in Regina. It always was hosted in Saskatoon. We had to travel there and celebrate there with all the medical students. But in 2023, we hosted it here in Regina at the Connexus, and it was awesome. And we had all the families come from Saskatoon, the medical students, and it just shows you how, even though it's a smaller community, anything is possible. And there's another example from medical students from all different years have gotten together to raise money for Sask Abilities. There was a marathon run that was organized, Miles for Smiles, and they raised $5,394. It's pretty good. So it just shows you, you know, the camaraderie that exists in this place. If you are going to come and join our family, I'm sure you will feel wanted, and you'll have a place to kind of grow and begin your med school journey. So I think we took way far longer than we were supposed to, because there's so many good things to say about Regina, and I think we're almost done here. Just Helen's got the last slide here.
All right, we are almost done. The very last thing here is the Arts Night and Showcase at the Neil Bockwell Civic Arts Center in Regina. We're showcasing student artwork, so feel free to come on that night if you have time, or just drop by the center and have a look at what medical arts and humanities looks like in Regina. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So I didn't introduce myself at the beginning. I'm Catherine McKay-Wilson. I'm the manager of the Regina campus. My assistant manager, Annie, was greeting you at the door. My communications team and my first year and second year team is here with some support to help you on your tours and answer any questions for you. Right now we're gonna do a question and answer with the students. So I'll have them join us at the front. And I wanted to thank Dr. Bargava, Crowshire, and Alapo, Dr. Domes, and the team from Saskatoon for giving your time after hours. So if there are questions online, Dr. Chang will moderate for us and pop up on the screen when there's a question. So the ceiling mics are on. If you can't hear, please just raise your hand and let us know. And then if you'd like to ask a question, you should be able to just press the button in front of you to speak, just like at your other campus. So I'll have them introduce themselves, tell us where you're from, what made you choose or come to the Regina campus, and what your favorite thing is about being here in Regina. But remember that you only have a certain time limit, so you can tell them on the tour, but for the group, if you can share your name, where you're from, why you came or why you ended up working and being at the Regina campus as a student, and then your favorite thing about the campus. I think your overhead mics are on, so you should be okay.
Al, you want to start? Sure, I can start. I'm Al. I'm a third-year medical student here at the Regina campus, obviously. I'm originally from Quebec. I moved here in 2019 for my master's to Saskatoon, but then through serendipity, I'm here at the Regina campus, and I absolutely love it here. I think it was ultimately, well, I had ranked Saskatoon as my first choice due to proximity because I was living in Saskatoon. I couldn't be happier about being here. The experience here has been phenomenal. I'm closer to my classmates than I would be if I was in Saskatoon. So just love it here.
What's your favorite thing?
My favorite thing is my classmates. Like I just spent the first 6 weeks of clerkship all on my own in Weyburn and in Moose Jaw. So I'm just happy to be back. Especially interact with my classmates that I've missed for like 6 weeks.
My name is Fatima. I'm a second-year medical student, also here in Regina. Yeah, I just ended up here through the college, I guess, and I love it too. My favorite thing about the campus is probably the people, everyone, classmates, admin, teachers, just people.
My name's Cassia. I'm a second-year medical student at the Regina campus. I actually was born and raised in Regina, but went to Saskatoon for my undergrad and wanted to stay in Saskatoon. So Saskatoon was my first choice, and I got placed in Regina. And I promise, they didn't pay me to say this, but if I could go back, I would pick Regina. I love it here. I love the people. Again, like everyone else said, I love being in a hospital setting. Really close with the admin team, really close with my peers, really close with the teachers. So we have a lot of fun together. So.
Okay. My name is Natisha. I'm a third-year medical student here. I'm born and raised in Regina, and I went to Saskatoon for my undergrad, did Fizz Farm, as many people do. And then I weighed back and forth and ended up choosing to come back home to Regina. Because someone made me, but no, she actually did. She's very supportive of maybe going to Saskatoon, but ultimately I chose Regina as my first choice for like a few reasons. One of which was being in the hospital. I was kind of done with like the university scene and was really looking forward to like coming into a new setting. So that was something that was really exciting for me. I also had the opportunity to move back home, which was like also really a good prospect with like while studying and everything like that. And then largely, I also wanted to come here for the purpose of clerkship. So your last 2 years, like they've said, is like your clinical time. And so that's what I've just transitioned into. I just finished my first rotation in psychiatry and now I'm on surgery. And what I'd heard previously, which is a huge factor, is the fact that you get a lot of hands-on learning in Regina, which is huge. In Saskatoon, there's a lot more students in medicine, but on top of that, there's a lot more residents in a lot of different specialties, even more so than Regina. And so all of a sudden you're a little bit lower on the list of like people they might ask to do things. Like I had my first day of orthopedic surgery yesterday and there wasn't a resident in the OR. It was just like me, the assist and the ortho. So like that gives you just more opportunity to be able to get your hands dirty really early on. And that's why I think people get really prepared for things like your MCQ. And that was like a really attractive thing for my choice was these like last 2 years of medicine. So if that's something that is like appealing to you, I'm really excited to like get more into that this year. But ultimately my favorite part is definitely the people and like having only like 40 of us, it's like super tight knit. So it's like a lot of fun. But yeah, sorry, hopefully that wasn't too long. I had to say that.
Are there questions in the room? Go for it.
How did you decide on medicine over other healthcare fields?
That's in my mind.
Maybe I can tackle this for a little bit. In a way, I didn't. I was a personal trainer for about 5 years. Worked for a mental health crisis line for about 6 years. A bit older than some of the other people in my class. But ultimately, I've always known I wanted to be a doctor, and throughout all those experiences, it just reaffirmed what I wanted. They were wonderful experiences, and I draw on those every day in clerkship. I think it's something that it will just, you kind of will know if you have enough exposure with other things.
I can add to that. I think one thing that appealed to me about medicine overall was like the diagnostic factor of it and like the fact that it's like very like puzzle piecey and you're putting things together, and that's like something you don't always get in certain other health professions. And then actually there's like the business side of it too. Like if you think about the opportunity to like run your own business as a doctor and be in control of your own schedule and your own like how much you want to work and where you want to put your time, like that was really appealing to me as well. That kind of autonomy that you don't always get in other professions. So that's another thing for me.
I guess one more thing is when you're a physician, it is a lot about seeing patients, but that's not the only pathway you can take. There's a lot of different things you can do. You can do research, you can teach, you can, like Dr. Bargava, Dr. Krauser, Dr. Chang, they're all in admin positions as well. So there's just like a lot of different avenues. A big thing that I do both prior to medicine and in medicine is advocating for patients and finding your passion working in public health. And I just find that medicine is a really great avenue to be able to do all those things or just pick one.
I'll just add on quickly to just reiterate how I sort of knew is basically just exposure. So having friends, having family members that are in different aspects of healthcare, trying to shadow different aspects of healthcare and sort of figuring out what fits in best with you. You come to that understanding by just seeing what different people are doing.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the room? Go ahead.
I guess I have sort of a weird one. So with I know we talked about interdisciplinary sort of communication a bit. Some of that is more so in passing. So to preface, I'm a nursing student. In my interactions with any pharmacy students, any med students here, it's just asking what's on the menu, seeing if I have to run to Burger King or something like that real quick before we get back. So we don't really facilitate that communication very much. we've had some like interdisciplinary, interprofessional communication days, but unfortunately, they haven't done a very good job of, facilitating that within our program. So I was just wondering what, throughout your program, what you have for those options and opportunities.
Well, there is an IPE, interprofessional education component that's a required, I believe, module that you will do. And then, especially in the Sim Center, you will find a lot of interprofessional integration to your skill sets. There is a department for the USask that specifically works on interprofessional education, and they do have a person that works for them in Regina. He's not in our campus, but I think asking for those would absolutely open you to lots more of those conversations. But I think being in the clinical setting and in the day-to-day, you'll get a lot of interaction on that, but I'll also share with the students.
Yeah, we also have requirements for shadowing. So we have to shadow other healthcare professionals. I have a friend that just shadowed a paramedic. I'm going to be shadowing orthotics, which is really cool. And also in first year too, you have the opportunity to shadow different healthcare professionals. Also, I think Regina is really special because we're in a hospital setting and we see those disciplines every single day. We see x-ray techs, we see nurses all the time, and we get to have that communication with them almost on a daily basis, which I think is a little bit unique from Saskatoon.
And I think in the last 3 years, there has always been at least one student who graduated as nursing and has then become in the medical program.
There's tons of nurses.
Yeah, so if you have more questions, we could probably find someone for you to talk to if you give information to Ashley.
We also have a new EPA this year, which is like an entrustable professional activity. It's one of the things we're evaluated on as clerks that deals with how you interact interprofessionally, which I think is probably going to help skew that needle a little bit more because now our performance with other healthcare professionals is being evaluated. And so that's an early step in us forming those proper connections and how to navigate those relationships early as opposed to, oh, hey, I'm a hoity-toity resident now and I don't care anymore about those. I'm not suggesting that that's what happens here. But like it's kind of like those stereotypical things you see on TV, like that's not my experience at all so far. Like people work well together.
Perfect,
Sort
thank
of
you.
Going off of this as well, I'd like to mention that in some of our clinical scenarios, we do have other healthcare workers that are part of like the preceptors, the teachers. They're sort of grading us and they're also advising us on how their professions might be involved in that scenario and what they may be looking for from physicians in terms of communication regarding that scenarios. And I find that really helpful.
Yeah, I guess we also have lectures from, like today we had a lecture from a physiotherapist, or we have lectures from speech pathologists all the time.
Any other questions? Dr. Chang, do we have any questions online?
There's a question up there, Catherine.
No questions that I've seen.
Sorry, who did I miss? Go ahead.
I just had a question about the recent class size. You said there were 108 people. So of that 108, it's just 40 that's here, or the whole
40 are here and 68 are in Saskatoon.
So when you do classes, how do you do you have different classes, or you will be attending class at the same time?
I'll let the students answer for you.
Yeah, for the most part, if it's like a normal lecture, I'll say like it's all together. Like most of them happen in Saskatoon, but quite a fair few of them happen here, the lectures, I mean. And so if they are happening in Saskatoon, we're probably in here watching it on the projector, and we have the opportunity to interact with the lecturer as well. And then when we have like clinical skills, we have our own set of people and clinical skills here that happen. And I think that's where you also get more face time with some of those people that you might be interested in working with in the future, and they get more face time with you as well.
Anyone else? Okay, so we are going to do a draw for a door prize.
Can I just add something?
Yes, go ahead.
So to the first question about how do you know if medicine is your career choice compared to other health disciplines? The SHA actually does allow students to shadow employees in different professions within the SHA. So it's an obscure place on the website, but if you go and look under careers, I think it's volunteering. If you're looking for volunteer opportunities, there is an avenue where you can request to shadow an SHA employee in any discipline and get some more exposure and try to ask some questions, meet a professional in that area to learn more about the discipline. And certainly we encourage students, mature students, anyone who's interested. Obviously healthcare, there's so many different choices for career activity, some available to train in here, some available out of province, but all very much in need for our healthcare workforce. So certainly look for that on the SHA website.